Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Good evening. It's Tuesday, August 2nd. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. First, the state. Now, county officials are declaring a local health emergency over a monkeypox outbreak. Recent numbers show a spike. 46 San Diegans now infected. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman has the details.
A day after California officials declared monkeypox an emergency, San Diego County officials are issuing their own health emergency.
This situation that we face today is fundamentally different than the one that we faced in COVID, and that there already is a vaccine, there is treatment, and we know much more about it. It is also order of magnitude less transmissible than that.
Health officials report nearly 20 additional cases since Friday, bringing the total in the county to 46 cases. Monkeypox can cause painful rashes and sores in addition to flu-like symptoms. Anyone can contract it, but this current outbreak is spreading mainly among gay, bisexual, or other men who have sex with men.
There has been one hospitalization and thankfully no deaths. The ages range from 27 to 58 with a median age of 34. All cases are male, and 39 of the cases have self-identified as gay. One case self-identified as heterosexual, and 6 others are unknown.
Health officials don't want to stigmatize monkeypox, and they're working with LGBTQ groups on messaging and setting up vaccine events.
I would like to be clear that this disease is not caused in any way by the LGBTQ community. This disease can and has occurred in individuals outside of this community.
Monkeypox is much less infectious than COVID. It spreads through close contact with an infected person. That can also include transmission using bedding or even clothing. San Diego has gotten about 4,000 doses of vaccines, but the at-risk population is estimated around 66,000 San Diegans.
The reality is we need more vaccines, and we will continue to advocate and continue to push for a greater supply.
The monkeypox vaccine is 2 doses, but right now health officials want to give as many at-risk San Diegans their first doses. There's been at least 1 case of community transmission involving an at-home exposure. Officials say the emergency declaration will help expand access to testing and vaccinations.
What I ask people to do in the meantime is to make smart decisions, to limit your risk as much as possible, and to avail yourself of the tools that are being made available.
Officials say if you think you have monkeypox, to contact your health provider right away. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
The young woman who reported being sexually assaulted by members of the San Diego State football team is speaking out a day after the university announced it's starting its own investigation. KPBS reporter Alexander Nguyen sat down with her, and we warn you that some may find her account disturbing.
With everything going on right now, oh my gosh, I'm so sweaty.
The woman, whom we are not identifying, was nervous when she sat down to describe the horrific night she went through last October. It happened here, off campus. She says she went to a Halloween party at this house.
Someone had posted it that we were friends with, so we decided to go check it out. We walked into the back, and there was a lot of people. My friends ended up getting separated from me, and some guy came up to me, handed me a drink, we were talking.
That was when she was taken to a room in the house. She says several guys were already there.
They threw me down onto the bed, face down, and they took turns assaulting me from behind, other things in the mix, and I was bleeding everywhere.
She says her piercings were ripped out. The assault happened when she was 17 and left her with bruises all over her body, including her neck and legs. Her attorney shared these photos with us.
It was really aggressive. It was aggressive. It was, really scary.
Yesterday, SDSU announced it had started its Title IX investigation into the assault. The university said it was asked repeatedly not to start its own investigation because it could interfere with the police investigation. Unlike a criminal investigation, the Title IX investigation only looks at whether campus policy was violated. The maximum penalty is expulsion. The now 18-year-old thinks the university may have other motives for delaying the investigation.
It feels like since that football team was doing so well, since they're so well known, that maybe it could be the fact that they're good players, trying to brush it under the rug.
She says there was a lot of evidence that the school could have done something to protect their students.
Kind of scared me just because I do know how many girls go to these parties and make the decisions that I unfortunately made that night. It scares me for the other women and all of the other students altogether that have no idea. I think SDSU waited too long.
Police say the investigation is ongoing. So far, no one has been charged. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
Social justice organizations gathered in front of the San Diego County Courthouse downtown today demanding change in county jails. KPBS reporter Kitty Alvarado says today's event comes less than a week after another inmate death.
No more deaths! No more deaths!
Social justice advocates stood shoulder to shoulder in front of the state courthouse to demand justice inside San Diego County jails.
Here I am going through the same thing that my mother went through.
Gina Burns with Moms Against Torture says her brother died inside a jail.
It's a miracle my son is still alive.
And now she's afraid her son will too.
Who holds them accountable for all these deaths? Enough is enough. No more deaths.
No more deaths!
No more deaths!
Speaker after speaker came forward to share stories of people they know who lost loved ones behind bars or stories of abuse they suffered personally, like Arameek Glass-Blake, who says she's been incarcerated during protests.
Multiple times during my arrest, not only was I brutalized, but once I got into the jail, they allowed me to throw up on myself. They separated me from other folks.
She says she was lucky someone recognized her for her work with government agencies, but still was not given medical care despite being sick with undiagnosed cancer.
What happens to the people that do not have connections to make a phone call to tell the truth about what's happening in there? I'm here today to stand with the family members of those who are impacted the most.
Less than a week ago, a 23-year-old man was the 15th person to die in custody this year. An independent report released in April showed that based on population, San Diego County jails had the highest number of people in the state who died without being sentenced.
And I'm hurt. I'm in pain. I'm traumatized. I'm all those things. All those titles fit me today.
Patrick J. Germany says he and all those standing behind him are tired of hearing about the abuse and deaths happening in San Diego County jails. He says everyone must take action.
If you don't wake up, if you don't watch it, it's going to be your loved one next.
The Sheriff's Department sent KPBS a statement saying that every death is a tragedy and they're sympathetic to the loved ones of those who died in custody and are focused on improvements and strive to make the jail safe.
I will keep fighting till the day I die.
Kitty Alvarado, KPBS News.
Tonight, police departments across San Diego County are hoping to build better relationships with their communities during National Night Out. San Diego police are hosting several events, including a gathering at Gompers Park, an ice cream social at Kensington Library, and summer movies at Henwood Park. The El Cajon Police Department is setting up at Parkway Plaza with face painting and balloon artists for the kids, as well as resources for adults. The Chula Vista Police Department is inviting the public to their headquarters for tours, for demonstrations, kids' activities, and more.
We have a whole division called the Community Engagement Division that we focus on getting in touch with people. So we want them to get to know their officers out there. And events like this just kind of set that bridge up for them to do that.
More local departments plan to participate. They encourage you to follow their social media pages or reach out to them to find out about events happening in your area. The Padres played a doubleheader today, but fans were cheering long before the first pitch. That's because in a blockbuster deal, the team acquired all-star Juan Soto, the first baseman John Bell from Washington National. Here's KPBS reporter Melissa May with fan reaction from Petco Park.
It's safe to say that Padres fans are excited that Juan Soto is now officially a Friar.
Because he'll be hitting bombs.
Super excited. We've been waiting a long time for a championship in San Diego. We want to bring a trophy to San Diego, and this is the first step in that process.
They need it. They need something big, and the combination of Soto and Tatis and Musgrove, they're setting a core that's going to be big for the future of San Diego.
Now we got another hitter that can get it over the fence, contribute, and whenever there's a runner on second, to bring him in.
For those of you who don't know who Juan Soto is,
this one high in the air, deep center field. See you.
He's the 2022 Home Run Derby winner, the 2018 NL Rookie of the Year runner-up, a two-time All-Star, and a two-time Top 5 MVP finisher. North County resident Damon Gidner has been a Padres fan for the last 46 years. He and his family have high expectations with Soto in the lineup.
He's 23 years old. He's a superstar already. He's probably the best hitter in baseball. And for him to come to San Diego and continue his career here, that would be one of the biggest things that ever happened in the history of sports in San Diego.
National City resident Danny Montijo brought his mother to her first ever Padres game today and loves having another young superstar on the team.
He's young enough to be here for a lot of years, just like Tatis and some of the other, and Java Joe. I'm proud that we got hometown guy. You know, we're from National City. His dad is from there, so all is good.
Timmy Bernard and his brother Luke have been Padres fans for the last 5 years.
I feel like we're going to be winning a lot more games, and we'll go like higher up in the standings. Maybe we'll be like the first place for the teams, be in front of the Dodgers.
Longtime Padres fans and San Marcos residents Tom and Jean Goad are confident Soto is going to thrive here in San Diego.
The fans are the real key here, and they're going to turn out for him and the rest of the guys, for sure.
It's certainly better to be in San Diego than Washington, D.C.
Many regard the opportunity to trade for a player like Juan Soto as a once-in-a-generation event. And Padres fans of all ages will be able to see the superstar live in their own backyard. From Petco Park, Melissa May, KPBS News.
The San Diego City Council has just passed a sweeping update to the city's climate action plan. KPBS environment reporter Eric Anderson has the story.
The update was years in the making, a process that was delayed in part because of the COVID pandemic. The city's Mariah Saldana says the original plan to ease the city's impact on the climate called on the municipality to cut greenhouse gas emissions in half by 2035. The updated plan aims to hit a net zero greenhouse gas emissions goal by the same time. The city has also identified specific strategies to get there.
200 plus actions that will we'll have to work with implementing departments on to secure that path to net zero.
The Climate Action Plan reboot was built on community input. The plan emphasized cleaning up the air in at-risk neighborhoods, but some community advocates say the Climate Action Plan update can still be improved. The Environmental Health Coalition has been lobbying for specific climate goals that have targets and timelines.
We feel like there are some changes that can be made before that final vote, but yes, we are supportive of the Climate Action Plan and think it's going to do a lot for the neighborhoods in San Diego in order to address climate change impacts.
This is the first ever revision of the city's Climate Action Plan. The next scheduled update is due in 2027. Eric Anderson, KPBS News.
The death toll is rising in Northern California, and the McKinney fire is still growing. Today, search teams found 2 bodies in separate residences along State Route 96. 2 other bodies were found on Sunday. The fire has burned more than 56,000 acres since it started last Friday and is 0% contained. More than 100 homes and other buildings have been destroyed. The flooding disaster in Kentucky continues, now with 37 people dead and hundreds more still missing. Search and rescue crews are battling difficult terrain to reach any possible survivors. But as Mary Maloney reports, a shift in the weather is expected to compound the already tough task.
just a total wreck, total mess.
As survivors sort through the catastrophic damage left behind, search and rescue crews in flood-stricken eastern Kentucky are intensifying their work to reach trapped people.
It is absolutely devastating out there.
I think the worst is still to come if we aren't able to clear paths and get to these people.
Despite washed out roads, bridges, and isolated terrain, crews are still finding bodies, raising the death toll. They've been battling hot weather for days, and temperatures are expected to climb into the 90s Wednesday and Thursday. But combined with humidity, it will feel close to 100 degrees.
It's going to get really, really hot, and that is now our new weather challenge.
Last week's flooding disaster has killed more than 36 people, ripped homes from their foundations, and wiped away people's livelihoods.
In 71 years, I ain't never seen nothing like this.
We work hard for ourselves, and then just to watch it all go in a matter of seconds, it's awful.
Many of those who made it don't have a home to return to, as others deal with major power outages, lack of water, and disrupted cell phone service, making it hard to communicate with loved ones.
With the heat, once it dries up, through the day, it's just muggy, humid. People will suffocate. A lot of people on oxygen that don't have power are already suffering.
Mary Maloney, KPBS News.
The monsoonal moisture from the last few days is leaving the area. That means for the rest of this week, a warm and mainly dry pattern is ahead. Biggest concern we have is at coastal regions, the risk of rough surf and rip currents. Beach hazard statements are in effect through late Wednesday, so if you are planning to head to the coast or head out in the water, make sure you are paying attention to the posted flags and never swim at a beach that is not guarded. By the weekend, we might have some moisture return in a few places that could spark a few showers and thunderstorms. Over the last several hours, the moisture has been much less widespread than the past few days, so things look pretty good and dry as we go through the next few days. Overnight, lows will be in the 60s over most of the region, 70s from San Diego to El Cajon, and 84 in Borrego Springs. That is the warm spot. By Wednesday, it's just typical August heat across much of our region and even more comfortable at the coast than anything else. Any thunderstorms will be through the central Sierra or farther off to the east in the Four Corners, so we've got a dry forecast for the area. Lots of sun, pair of 7s in San Diego and for Chula Vista, El Cajon 94, and Ramona heading up to 92 degrees for the day on Wednesday. If you're heading to the coast through the weekend, things looking pretty good. Outside of a stray thunder shower on Saturday, it's going to be dry with temperatures hovering right around the 80-degree mark. Inland, we've got lots of sun. Not much of a threat for a shower here, even as we head into the weekend. 84, 85 degrees will do it right through the day on Sunday. If you're heading to the mountains have the best chance to see some scattered showers and thunderstorms around over the weekend. Until then, just sunny from the mid-70s Wednesday and Thursday to the upper 70s over the weekend with that stray afternoon storm both days. In the deserts, 108 for Wednesday, 108 for Thursday, and then as we get more clouds in here and a few storms over the weekend, temperatures will actually cool down back to around 100 degrees. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Ben Reppert.
I'm Judy Woodruff. Tonight on the NewsHour, Biden's national security advisor discusses the killing of al-Qaeda's leader and other international developments. Coming up at 7 after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Renters across San Diego could see increases of up to 10%. In 2019, California passed a law that capped rent hikes at 5% plus inflation, which is normally around 2%. But inflation is roughly 8% in San Diego County, meaning landlords can raise rents the maximum of 10%. Housing that doesn't fall under the law include properties built in the past 15 years. Affordable housing, housing subject to local rent control, and single-family homes with no corporate ownership. One tenant told our media partner 10 News she had to find a new apartment when her rent went up more than $600 a month.
I was completely astonished, just to see my rent going up from $2,895 to $3,500, despite having like a middle class income, perhaps, right? It's unbelievable. I feel for people who live on minimum wage.
We're facing a homeless crisis. People are on the verge of losing their homes. Food is sky high. And of course, rents. Someone shouldn't have to choose between food and rent.
The Southern California Rental Housing Association has pointed to increasing maintenance and insurance costs as reasons for rent hikes. Baby formula availability is better than it was, but it's still not back to normal. That is according to a new report from a market research firm. It found about 20% of all types of baby formula products were out of stock during the week ending July 24th. It was only 10% before Abbott Nutrition's nationwide recall. The White House is doing what it can, including bringing in formula from overseas and extending programs designed to help families affected by the shortage. The FDA says formula production needs to continue at high levels for 6 to 8 more weeks for supply to keep up with the demand. San Diego County officials say we're in the midst of a mental health crisis. Millions of dollars in additional funding is being allocated in this year's budget. KPBS health reporter Matt Hoffman looks at how some of that money is being spent.
This is the new way to do crisis intervention work. Gone are the days where, you have to just call 911 for a mental health crisis. This is the new way of doing it. This is the new way to get people help in the community.
Brianna Lane leads Telecare's mobile crisis response teams in San Diego County. Referred to as MCRT, teams with clinicians are being dispatched to mental health calls instead of police officers. And call volume has been going up month over month since expanding the program countywide.
We will serve anyone and everyone. So we'll have a team that goes on a call to a very wealthy family who maybe one individual is struggling with passive suicidal thoughts, to then wrap that call up and go down to 12th and Imperial to someone who is unsheltered and is experiencing psychosis.
Hi, MCRT, this is Michael. A Mission Valley hub acts as a dispatch center for the crisis response teams. If someone calls 911 now for a mental health emergency, these teams can respond instead. It's one piece of the county's efforts to turn the behavioral health system away from a crisis response to one that works similar to healthcare. That includes diverting people away from emergency services who might not need them.
We see, huge numbers of people, disproportionate numbers of folks with behavioral health conditions showing up to emergency departments. Incredible work happens in emergency departments. There are amazing physicians and healthcare practitioners in emergency departments. But emergency departments are not designed to care for folks with behavioral health conditions.
Luke Bergman oversees San Diego County's behavioral health services. This year's budget calls for a $70 million increase and 115 new positions. Part of that is to help create a continuum of care, which, like the health system, would have some type of middle ground or urgent care. That's what crisis stabilization units, or CSUs, are designed to do. 2 recently opened in Vista and Oceanside, and there's plans for more over the next few years.
When you show up, it is designed to help people de-escalate. It's designed to make people feel more at ease, to sort of cultivate a sense of connection between people who show up there and the care providers who are there. And all of that stuff that happens at the instance of initial engagement is really significant to what happens farther along in the trajectory.
These crisis stabilization centers are where many people contacted by the new MCRT teams end up going.
How do we make sure that we're getting folks to the right level of a service in crisis, right? Not going to 911 if it's not life emergency, but going elsewhere where they can get that immediate help.
Nick Mascione leads the county's Health and Human Services Agency.
Our budget is approaching $3 billion. Nearly $1 billion of that is behavioral health services.
Mascione says in his 25 years with the county, he's only seen the need for behavioral health services increase. Officials report we're seeing nationwide trends in San Diego County. Overdoses are up, as are rates of psychological distress. People of color and those with lower incomes are disproportionately impacted, and it's not just adults. The pandemic has caused a spike in mental health visits for kids. Officials want to be proactive and roll out a new program that will evaluate every student.
We're going to start it in the middle school settings, screening every kid across all districts in this county in middle school settings. So we'll know, even if there's nothing that would suggest that they are at increased risk of behavioral health issues, we'll know. And be able to respond proportionately.
The county also embraces harm reduction strategies too. For instance, those under the influence of drugs or alcohol are not being turned away from the county's newest homeless shelter.
Focusing instead of solely on their addiction, if we focus more broadly on their wellness, what we see are massive increases in their receptivity over time to care. 5 times more likely for folks to go into formal treatment for addiction if they've had engagement with a harm reduction provider.
Mobile crisis response teams are available 24/7 in San Diego County, and now people can call the national 988 crisis line to reach them too. Program operators say most referrals come in from third parties or police, but that's changing as more people become aware of the resource.
I think we've really only kind of like seen the tip of the iceberg with the need of this program. With the call volume going up, it's definitely kind of told us that having an alternative to law enforcement for mental health crises is very much needed in San Diego.
Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Every year, San Diegans are asked to help stuff the bus, but right now the campaign is coming up short. The annual school supplies drive for students experiencing homelessness is being extended through August 31st. The San Diego County Office of Education and San Diego County Credit Union are hoping to raise $100,000, but so far, they've only raised $38,000. The money will be used to buy backpacks filled with pencils, pens, binders, crayons, and more. You can donate online at the website on your screen or at any Ralph's or Foods for Less grocery store. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Good night.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating and air, restoration, flood and remodeling services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marco Shiley. And by the following: by viewers like you. Thank you.